The reason why we're doing this segment is because it's about Chicago, which has a glaring murder problem.
But that's not caused by illegal immigrants.
No,
that's caused by illegal guns.
I'm getting to that point. No, you're absolutely wrong on it's caused by illegal guns. It's caused by criminals. There may be. Let me finish. Let me indulge you and say there is no correlation between sanctuary cities and the mass of murders that are taking place in the streets of Chicago. What it does show you is that a city prefers to act symbolically with things like sanctuary cities rather than acting concretely to stop the murders. So they'll sit there and they'll get up there and they'll talk about sanctuary cities while people are actually dying. Poor urban blacks are the most likely to be the victims of crime. We know that. The way that you can stop and reduce that crime is making guns more available to them to defend themselves against the criminals. Their permits are too high in Illinois. They're like $450 for permits and training. John Lott has a great article on that this morning. In New York, you got to be rich and powerful to get a permit. We're denying poor, law-abiding citizens the right to defend themselves against people that are out there with illegal guns, because you can get illegal guns in gun-controlled cities like Chicago. Every time you blame it on illegal guns, you are showing that gun control doesn't work, especially in cities like Chicago where gun control is so high.
So I have one response to that. So the former police chief in Chicago said this, and Donald Trump supports the police, I support the police, right? He said this: the number one problem in the streets of Chicago is this, the proliferation of illegal guns.
In a highly gun-controlled city.
Right, exactly. And, and most of these illegal guns are not coming from Chicago. They're coming from places like Indiana. They're coming from places like Arizona. They're coming from all the border states where they have these ridiculous gun laws where you can go to a gun show and buy enough weapons to blow up the Taliban in one day.
Not true.
That is true.
No, it's not true.
Talk to the police department in Chicago and they'll tell you that. Talk to the former police chief.
I think if you talk to other police chiefs, they will also tell you that it has to do with the fact that people aren't allowed to protect themselves. There are studies that show that criminals will not go to places where they think somebody is armed. Felons will fill out questionnaires and say they've actually avoided places where somebody is armed.